Smiling faces. We're waiting for blue to go green. Okay, LinkedIn, you can do it. Facebook, you can do it. YouTube, you can do it. One, two. Waiting, waiting, waiting. We'll play the music as soon as we get going. And one more channel. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay, Jordan, count us down from 10 to 1. Everybody's going to join me, and then we'll play the music and we'll get started. Jordan, let's go. You
All
ready?
right. All right. 10,
10, 9.
9,
Everybody.
8,
8,
Eight,
7,
7,
7,
6,
6, 5,
5,
5,
4,
4,
4,
3,
3,
3,
2,
2,
2,
1.
1.
1.
Dance with me.
Welcome to Read My Lips Radio, a lively hour of unscripted conversations with savvy creatives. Producer and host, akaRadioRed, asks novelists, artists, photographers, designers, comedians, actors, musicians, composers, screenwriters, directors, and technology innovators about their creative passion, inspirational muses, and how they create. Ooh, how those lips can talk. Now, here's AKA Radio Red.
Thank you very much. The wonderful voice who introduces me, Radio Red in the house. Happy to be here. Shout out to our engineer, Jordan Henson, today. I am back. It's Monday. Where else would I be? It's been so many years on Monday. I don't think I know what to do with myself if I don't have a show. Once in a while, we have a holiday. Read My Lips is where I talk to interesting people who sometimes didn't know they were creatives. Sue Sanchez, Callie Boswell, Bill Williams, you are all officially Radio Red's creatives. I meet people all over the world at the Publicity Summit where I met the three of you. I meet them through PR agencies. I meet them through referrals from friends. And I say, you're a creative. No, I'm not. I don't sing and dance and I don't paint and I don't sculpt. Well, do you decide how you dress, how you talk, how you run your business, how you decorate your house, how you eat your food, how you talk to people, how you answer the what that thing called the phone? I don't know. You are all creative. So there we go. Before we get started with introductions, I want you all to wave hello, please, right now. Wave hello to LinkedIn, wave hello to Facebook, wave hello to YouTube, twice to Facebook. Thank you. They really get insulted if you don't wave to both channels. Now, I want all of you three wonderful people to put up your finger in the shape of the letter L, please. And we're going to have a little shout out. Oh, by the way, Jordan, I want you to put them in as tied for first place on the countdown for the music from 10 to 1. That was the most in sync. It was until you lagged a little bit on, 3, 2, 1. It got a little slow there. You were so in sync, and we didn't rehearse this. Bill, last time you were on the show, we didn't rehearse it either. Jordan, this was the best. Put these three down as tied for number 1. I don't know who else was number 1, but we'll do that. Okay. Letter L, here we go. On the count of 3, I want you to join me. And just at the pace I'm doing this, I want you to say hello, LLL. 1, 2, 3. Hello,
Hello,
L,
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 L.
L.
Not bad. Also in sync. LLL is lovely, lanky Laura Legs, our most loyal listener. At 6:01 p.m. Eastern Time, she will email me and she'll tell me what Sue said and what Callie said and what Bill said. I get a little book report because she's listening and she's in Whitestone, New York. And Callie, I've been trying to get her to move to a place that starts with L so it can be lovely, lanky Laura Legs, our most loyal listener in Louisiana or I don't know, somewhere, Louisville or somewhere. I moved to Loudon, Tennessee. Don't tell anybody. And she refused to move here, but maybe she'll visit one day. So that's the story with that. Today is, oh my goodness, June 9th. Where is the year going? This is the 160th day of the 2025 Gregorian calendar. Used to be Julian calendar, and Julian had trouble with October. I'm a Libra, and there were a whole bunch of birthdays that didn't get celebrated because he didn't have it down pat in getting the calendar to go with the moon and the cycles, and he left days out in October, and Gregorian said, we got to fix that. I don't think he was a pope yet. And he said, we're going to start a new something every 4 years. We're going to call it a leap year. We're going to add one day to the calendar. And all of a sudden, all of us October babies had our birthdays. Isn't that exciting, Callie? So there were 205 days left to the year. It's the 23rd Monday, and nobody cares about that except me. Now, I would like to read an opening here. I have a little poem, and when I call your name, I want you to just wave and say hello. So here we go. Welcome to Cool Conversations with Creatives on our radiant stage where sparks of insight meet the muses we engage. AKA Radio Red on her Scarlett mic, so bright, guides the conversation in her live streaming flight. Today she honors legacies, brave and true, with 3 creatives whose crafts inspire the legacies they grew. Callie Claire Boswell, wave hello. Sue Sanchez, wave hello. And Bill Williams gathering round, sharing experiences and wisdom, and their wisdom where creativity is found. Now, here we go. Callie, I'm using your middle name because that's what you sent me. So we're going to be Callie Claire today. Okay.
Sure, yeah.
Callie Claire Boswell's spark first ignited beneath the open sky, where make-believe ran free and childhood dreams flew high. In homes of lore and whispered ghosts, she learned to see that British mysteries and history dwell in harmony. With formal art and healing arts entwined within her hand, she weaves interiors to journals with purpose finely planned. From soulful paintings to sessions mending the spirit's heart, Callie's legacy of resilience is indeed a timeless art. Callie?
Oh.
We can't hear you, but I can tell you're happy. Okay, we need to get your mic back working, but we'll work on that in a second. Let me go to, there we go, you're back.
Okay, good.
Sue
That was so beautiful.
Thank you. I'm glad.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it in a minute. This is my gift to all of you. Sue
Oh.
W. Sanchez is here. Sue has lived 3 lives across borders wide. From Wisconsin's gentle field to Mexico's warm stride, she taught from kinder to college, guiding youth with her grace. Her degrees in language and culture lighting every space. A mother, a grandmother, a mentor whose wisdom earned acclaim. Sue's awards attest the lives she's touched and the hearts she's helped to frame. In tales of faith, family, and memories, Sue's journey finds its voice, a tapestry of living, each chapter written by her choice. Sue?
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. This is my gift to all of you. Bill, I got a new one for you. We're just on the show in January, so here we go. Bill Williams honed his craft at Texas Tech with pen and lens, a journalist whose words and images would bridge and blend. He steered a 4-city TV network in Austin's vibrant scene, then taught the art of directing where broadcast meets the screen. 2 decades at consulting firms in D.C.'s bustling sprawl, Bill then traded change for roots in Ohio's quieter hall. Now in his 20 years of internet humor, delightful streams, Bill shares wit and wisdom, reflecting life's most ardent themes. Bill?
That is marvelous, Red. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, dear. And here's my closing. So gather round where the cool vibes sway as we dive deep into our creativity today. akaRadioRed's Roundtable lights the way. We hope to inspire you. This line always makes me cry. We hope to inspire you to live large, love life, and play. So what'd you all think? Good?
Beautiful.
Excellent.
So beautiful.
I'm
Very
glad.
nice.
I'm glad. I have a partner named Sylvie. We speak in French, but she helps me write in English. And she drafted your poems from the bios you sent me. That's why I asked for origin stories instead of straight CV and media press bios. And I went back to your bios and I compared line by line. I changed a lot of the rhymes. I said, we left this out. We got to go for this. We got to go for that. So I'm the human part of the equation and you can guess the rest. So there we go. But those are our gifts to each of you. So what I'd like to do now is go around. By the way, is anybody a Taurus? From anybody have a birthday between May 21st and June 21st? Anybody?
Somebody does.
Gemini.
Okay, we didn't get to Gemini yet. Oh, wait a minute. Where are we?
May
Are we?
29th.
We're in Gemini now? You know what?
Yeah.
I didn't, you are absolutely right, my dear. I didn't change. I have Taurus all here and I didn't change it on my header. Shame on me. Gemini, the 3rd zodiac sign and an air sign associated with the twins, Castor and Pollux, represented by the symbol of 2 Roman numerals. Personality. Okay, Callie, let's see if this is you. Quick-witted, playful, optimistic, social, curious, expresses emotions, love learning, engaging in intellectual discussions, dual nature, nurturing and yet detached. Strong communicator, adaptable to new situations, possess a natural curiosity. However, they can be easily bored, prone to overthinking, inconsistent, indecisive, allergic to monotony, scattered and stretched too thin. We won't talk about that. Gemini must be constantly entertained by lively conversations, exciting adventures, and tons of playtime. Is that you, Callie?
I say, that's a 20 out of 20.
20 out of 20.
Yeah, that's a check.
So I have to ask Bill and Sue, do you want to be honorary Gemini?
Sure.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? There's
I'm
a
a
bold.
Leo like you, actually.
I'm a Libra. So here's
Oh,
here are
a
some
Libra.
here are
Okay.
some famous Gemini: Angelina Jolie, Laverne Cox, Marilyn Monroe, Allie
Mhm.
Raceman, the gymnast, Natalie Portman, the Olsen twins, Colin Farrell, Stevie Nicks, Naomi Campbell, Venus Williams, Adina Menzel, Zoe Saldana, Heidi Klum, Brooke Shields, Octavia Spencer. Oh my, Patti LaBelle. There's one of my favorites. Paul McCartney, Bill Hader, Alanis Morissette, Blake Shelton, Anderson Cooper, and Liam Neeson. So you're in really good company. Callie, thank you for the correction. I updated my notes and I forgot to change the header, so I
Yeah,
apologize.
John F. Kennedy Jr. John F. Kennedy, the
JFK is here
president.
too.
Yeah, and Annette Bening. That's my birthday.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So let's go around the table. And Callie, you happen to be first, and we need you to project straight ahead because you sound like you're in a tunnel. We got to get that
Uh-oh.
audio clear. I
Yeah.
want you to tell me if we left anything out of your bio. 8 lines is not enough for a lifetime. And I'm going to give you about 2 minutes and just fill us in with a little more about you and a little bit about what you're doing these days. Go ahead.
Well, my joke, but it's not a joke, is that I hit the lottery with my family and my parents, and they were lovely. So, I think that when you are comfortable as a child and you're allowed to let the wildflowers grow, amazing things can happen. So I was allowed to be an artist, and I was in the garden, and I was always reading. We went on history vacations, road trips all the time. And I think all of those things contributed after I had a couple of hard knocks. Which everyone has. Ours were perhaps slightly more dramatic than other people's. But after that, I realized that I had a feeling of otherness. And that really spiked. And so the watercolors and the visual ability for interior design then transformed into me being able to see other things. And it makes you a very good judge of character. It makes you, I think, somebody who's very grateful to be alive, who values life. And I think that I have probably over almost 20,000 hours of healing work, hypnotherapy, NLP with people. And I think we accomplish in 1, 2, 3 hours maximum what it can take people 3, 4, 5 years, 10 years to accomplish. So those are some of my greatest things. I've created beautiful interiors, multi-award winning Inc. 5000. So I balance both the craft and the art. And that's not something everybody can do. So that's probably
lovely. That's your creativity superpower. I call that, Callie. We're going to ask you if you want to try to reconnect your other microphone because you're sounding very, very scratchy, like there's something going on in the background, and we really want to hear you sharp and clear. By the way, tell me, those paintings on the wall behind you, did you do those?
Yes.
What are they? Watercolors or acrylics? What are they?
They're mixed. They're acrylics with gouache, and then they have Tombow watercolor and Prismacolor pencils and acrylic, gold leaf. Yeah.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I had to call attention to those. Jordan wants to know what kind of a microphone you have. What's the mic?
It's a fancy one, Jordan. I don't know.
It's a fancy one. Okay, see if you can connect your fancy microphone and go back to those settings. And we're going to go to Sue right now. And so we'll give you a couple minutes, Callie. We just want to get you really sounding really, really clean and sharp. Okay. All right. Sue, welcome. Why don't you tell us what fills in the blanks? I gave you 8 lines for a whole lifetime, and we'd like to know a little more. So please, welcome, Sue.
Oh, that was so beautiful. I don't know. You kept me speechless. Well, I grew up in Wisconsin, 19 years there, went down to Mexico, met my special someone, got married 1 month later, and then had 3 beautiful daughters in Mexico, but they're dual citizenship, brought them up bilingual, bicultural. Taught, like you said, from kinder to college, 40 years. I did retire now. I'm retired. And after retiring, I was able to write my book. So I did write my memoir and enjoy life. I enjoy life. My family, we love traveling. We just love being together. Friends, God is good.
Life is good. Thank you very much. Nice to see you. And I met you at the Publicity Summit as well. And I said, you got to come on the show. And here you are. Let's go to Bill Williams. Bill was on a couple months ago and he keeps popping up at the Publicity Summit. I'm doing another one tomorrow night, June 10th. And I said to Bill, we're not going to book you again because twice a day anyway. We'll get you on later in the year. But Bill said, I want to come back. And I said, you were such a good guest. I would love to have you back. So, Bill, welcome back and fill us in. What did we miss in those 8 lines? Tell me more.
Well, I don't know that you missed the important stuff was all there, basically. Hey, I grew up all over the country. I was a military brat and we moved and I went to 14 schools before I got out of high school. So it was one of those things. I had great experiences all over the country, but the drawback was you never made any good friends. And I can count my oldest friend as someone I knew in high school right now. So, that's unfortunate, but the experiences made it worthwhile. And I have had a number of different careers. I've enjoyed every one of them. And most of them I hadn't planned on, okay? Because I was going to be an aeronautical engineer and design airplanes until I discovered I hated math. And that didn't work out too well. So everything else just sort of came along and I rolled with the punches and here I am again.
Bill, tell me about your message that I receive in my inbox, your thoughts of how do you send them and how do you pick the content for those? Some of them go back several years. Are they all from your book? Tell the ladies in the audience, please.
Okay. For 30 years, I've been sending out a thought for the day. It started back in the 90s when the email was brand new and I was managing a group of sales folks in the Midwest. And they all had email because I provided them with the equipment, but they never read it. So I started sending out something interesting Monday through Friday to get them to read it, and it worked. And even better, they started sharing it with their clients. The clients liked it and said, hey, could we get on the list too? And 30 years later, I'm not with that company anymore, but I'm still sending out a free thought for the day Monday through Friday to anybody who would like to get it. Over 30 years now. And I've got folks all over the U.S. I've got people in Europe and Asia and Australia that are getting these things.
And me too, in Tennessee.
Oh, you're on the list. Absolutely.
Yeah, I bet Sue and Callie might like to sign up as well. It just comes in your inbox and it's from Bill Williams and it says thought for and the day, Thursday, Monday, Friday, whatever. Some of them, sometimes they're cartoons, sometimes they're jokes, sometimes they're very deep thoughts. Right, Bill?
Absolutely, because the title of the book is Internet Humor and Other Interesting Things.
There you go. Well chosen. And there happens to be a picture of your book cover behind you on the screen right now on the screen.
I don't know how that happened.
But is that really at a bus stop somewhere, or is that just a fantasy picture? How did that get there?
Hey, that's what graphic designers can do for you.
There you go. Thank you, Bill, and welcome back. Callie, talk to us. Can we hear you now? Nope, we have absolutely no audio from you at all. So go back to the. Okay, that's fine. We'll take it. We will take it.
Okay.
So now I would like to go to the part we'll do our best, Callie. I'd like to go to the part of the show where you have each sent me a fictional character quote from a movie or a TV show or a song lyric. I'm going to read a little bit about the background, the background or the trivia, and ask you to relate it briefly to your own creativity. So Callie has sent a quote from Mary Kay Danaher. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, played by Maureen O'Hara. Bill and I know who Maureen O'Hara is. I don't know if the rest of you do. The movie was The Quiet Man, 1952. I don't know if I was here. Bill, were you? Never mind. Romantic comedy drama film directed and produced by John Ford, starring John Wayne, Maureen O'Hara, Victor McLaglen, Ward Bond. Oh my goodness. Based on a 1933 Saturday Evening Post short story by the Irish author Maurice Walsh, later published as a part of a collection called The Green Rushes, and it had lush photography of the Irish countryside and a semi-comic fist fight. That would have been interesting for 1952. Here is the line Callie has selected. Ever since I'm not going to try and do a Maureen O'Hara character quote voice because I don't know what she sounded like in that movie. Ever since I was a little girl, I dreamed of having my own things about me. My china, my cups, my curtains. They're mine, and I want them. Okay, Callie, what does this have to do with your creativity? Go ahead.
I just think she's this gorgeous, fiery Irish redhead. So that's what I love about her.
What does that have to do? Does that have to do with your interiors or?
The interior design. I've always wanted my things about me. Like I like it just so I don't want anybody to mess with my stuff. Like, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Brief and to the point. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Let me go on to Sue. Sue's quote. We usually get a longer response there. If you have anything more to say, you'll let me know. Sue has picked a quote from P.T. Barnum, played by the wonderful Hugh Jackman. The movie, of course, The Greatest Showman, 2017 musical period drama film. Let's see, from a screenplay by Jenny Bix and Bill Condon, based on a story by Jenny Bix. Stars, oh my goodness, Michelle Williams, Rebecca Ferguson, Zendaya, Hugh Jackman, Zac Efron. The film is a heavily fictionalized depiction of the life of P.T. Barnum, the showman and entertainer who created the Barnum and Bailey Circus and its star attractions. The quote I'm going to read from that Sue has selected is used in the film's trailer and is a recurring theme throughout the movie, highlighting Barnum's vision of showcasing, and I'm putting air quotes around this, freaks and individuals who don't fit the traditional mold. By the way, the film, Sue, was not well received by the critics. They only spent $84 million on the budget. Bill, we've got that in our back pockets, right? We'll go do something for $84 million. However, it was so successful. On the $84 million budget, it grossed $459 million worldwide and was nominated for Best Motion Picture. And it won a musical, it won something at the Golden Globes for Hugh Jackman. Here's the quote Sue has selected. "No one ever made a difference by being like everyone else." Sue, that's a beautiful quote. Sue, what does this mean to you? Go ahead.
Well, I don't want to be like everyone else. I want to be my own self and I want to stand out. And even when I got married and I went down to Mexico, and that was like in 1970. The idea of American woman at that time in Mexico was crazy because all of these movies that they had on, it wasn't very favorable for American women. They thought there were floozies and everything else. So I thought, oh my gosh, I have a pretty big responsibility here to show people what we are really like, you know? And then also as a teacher, I want to be the best. I want to influence my students the best I can, the most I can. And of course, my family and friends also. So you don't want to be ordinary.
You don't, and
I don't want to.
That's where creativity comes in. That's why we're all here, because we're all unique. Sue, what did you teach? You taught from kindergarten through college. What were your subjects? What were your favorite subjects that you taught?
Well,
if you could tell
my
us?
degree is in ESOL, English for Speakers of Other Languages.
Mhm.
But when I was in Mexico, there was a school that the U.S. government actually subsidized for the American families that were down there for the screwworm on the border, because they were trying to get rid of the screwworm, which now has appeared here in Texas again. So they're going to have to start all over. But at that time, it was eradicated in Texas and they went down to Chiapas. And so what was the question?
You were doing ESOL. You were teaching
Oh, yeah.
ESOL. It happens to me too, dear. So don't feel bad. Go ahead. What was I saying? I don't know. It was a good story anyway. So you were teaching ESOL. So what were your topics within that? Your subjects?
Well, then I was teaching. I taught at the university down there. I taught at high school here, but I started out in the American school and I had to teach anything they asked me. It didn't matter if I was certified in it. I knew English and I was a teacher and I knew how to teach, and I taught music to kindergartners
Wow.
and in middle schoolers. And our school was so different. There were only like 60 people, but I had to teach English grades 3, 4, and 5 at the same time in the same classroom.
Wow.
Imagine that. And then
Go ahead.
6, 7, and 8 at the same time in the same classroom. That was challenging because the 6th graders are still, and the 7th and 8th graders are much more, centralized. Now they can think more, and the little 6th graders are little kids. So that was a real challenge, but I enjoyed it all.
And that's part of your creativity. You created a classroom structure and a classroom process that allowed you to successfully share your knowledge with all of those grades at the same time. Bravo to you. Yeah, back in the day, I had bosses who said, everybody just roll up your sleeves. We got to put on this marketing campaign. It's 10 o'clock at night. We'll order some sandwiches or pizza. And everybody, this was the president of the company. He said, everybody just roll up your sleeves. We're all in this together, kids. Let's just get it done. We didn't have those sharp delineations of priorities for each job. Everybody was a team. Thank you very much. Let's go to Bill. Bill has picked a classic, an iconic. We're going back even farther than Callie's quote from 1952. We're going back to 1939. The movie was The Wizard of Oz, of course, iconic musical fantasy film. The character is Dorothy Gale, played by the very interesting Judy Garland, who certainly wasn't like anybody else, was she, Sue? And
Nope.
Wizard of Oz, produced by MGM. It was an adaptation of L. Frank Baum's 1900 children's fantasy novel, which was called The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. It was primarily directed by Victor Fleming, but he left. You know why he left, Bill? Why he left
I
for a
am
while?
not aware.
He went to take over directing Gone with the
Gone with
Wind,
the Wind.
which was having trouble. So he went over to there. The movie, of course, starred Judy Garland and Frank Morgan, Ray Bolger, Burt Lahr, Jack Haley, Billy Burke, and Margaret Hamilton. And let's see, there were people who never got credited in the credits for the screenplay. It was characterized by Technicolor, which was apparently new, fantasy storytelling, which was interesting, a musical score, memorable characters, released on August 25th, 1939, nominated for 6 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Original Song. It won Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Don't fault me, that was not good. It failed to make a profit for MGM until 1949 when they released it again. It only made $3 million on a $2.7 million budget. Not really good. However, the 1956 television broadcast premiere on CBS is the most seen film in movie history. So there you go. And it's on the BFI, British Film Institute's 50 films to be seen by the age of 14. Sue, there you go for your kids. It's on BFI's 2020 list of the 50 films to be seen by the age of 15, and it's considered one of the greatest films of all time and the most commercially successful adaptation of L. Frank Baum's work. And here is the quote: "I've a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore, Toto." Okay, Bill, how'd you pick this one? Let's hear it. What does this have to do with your creativity?
Well, it has to do with get ready to have changes, because so many times in my life I'd be moving right along and all of a sudden something would come out of the blue and slap me upside the head. And I look around and say, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore, Toto. More times than I'd like to think. And what you got to do is just pick up the pieces and change and go, you know?
Well, Bill, you took something that was new. You took this concept of email and sharing information and you turned it into a whole new thing, a whole cultural phenomenon, if you will, at the time. You must have been prescient, or you were very, very creative at the time, and you said, there's something here. Let's do something with it. And when did that spark come? One day you just said, oh, there's something called email. Let me tell everybody about it. Where did that come from?
Well, it was a communication, okay, a communication tool. And you have to think back at the time, if you wanted to keep in touch with people around, who were not nearby, they had to carry a pager and a whole pocket full of quarters. And then once they got a page that would give them a telephone,
phone booth. Go ahead.
once they got a page that gave them a telephone number, they'd have to find a payphone. They'd have to have a quarter to be able to put the money in and make a call and maybe get in touch with the person they needed to. But if you had email, there it was. Anybody who had a cell phone at the time, it was something that they carried in a sack on their shoulder or was attached to their car. And when the first cell phones really came out, they were the size of a building block.
Yeah.
Okay. And this was just something that was better. So let's use what's better.
Absolutely. Bill, I was an early adopter of AOL, America Online.
And was yellow or silver disc.
the discs. The CDs used to come in the mail free, and they were very shiny. They made great coasters for putting cocktail, glasses and necklaces if you wanted to cut them up and all that. Anyway, I signed up for AOL, and that handshake that we hear in movies like When Harry Met Sally, do 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 do, when the internet meets through the modem and you're online. And my neighbors I was living in Great Neck, Long Island, and a lot of well-to-do people lived in my building. These were people much older than me. I was the youngest in the building, and I just wanted to aspire to live in a beautiful place. So I did. And my friends would come into the apartment and they would say, "Oh, Bonnie," well, that's my real name, but Bonnie, what is that thing that you do? And I went online to AOL, and they stood there and said, "What is that?" I said, "That's called the internet. This is email." And it was that was 1994, Bill.
Well,
Interesting.
this was 92 when I started it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You were way ahead. But I accidentally, I don't know how, my dad was a storyteller and a joke teller. I joined something called Med Jokes List. Why, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I was just a marketing kid in a bunch of companies in New York. I joined Med Jokes List, and they were sending jokes around. People were saying, I found these 5 jokes, and they were really good jokes. I didn't know the impact of having those on my hard drive. So, Callie, I printed out all of the jokes and hole punched them and put them in a binder, and I kept them with me in a binder. Would you believe I'm still in touch with one of the attorneys from the original Med Jokes List, and we still communicate by email? That was how many years ago? Today is 2025. That was 31 years ago. We've stayed in touch. But when I first started doing live radio, I was on terrestrial radio on AM 1240 WGBB radio on Long Island. And when I first started, somebody said to me, "Oh, you have a local TV show. Let's go do radio." I said, "What? What? We want to give you a radio show." "What?" So I brought a briefcase with the folder of the jokes and horoscopes. And I had a friend who was a famous songwriter who lived in my community. I'd done an article for him when I was working for the local newspaper. And he called in, and I interviewed him over the phone. I was sitting in a dark studio with an engineer on the other side. It was a real radio station. And I pulled out the jokes and the horoscopes. And I had to fill an hour. I used the jokes, only the good ones, only the good ones. Anyway, Bill, you're bringing back wonderful, wonderful memories. Thank you all for the quotes. I appreciate the effort you all made. Let's go to your creativity statements. And here's how it's going to work. I'm going to pick 1 or 2 of their statements you sent me. You don't need to find them. I will read them right now. And Callie, I've picked, let me see which one I want to do. I'm going to pick statement number 2 from you, Callie, because I like this. You don't have to look for it. I'll read it to you. And you say, this is your own first person creativity statements on what it all means to you, how it impacts you, how you live your life creatively. And Callie says, "With my paintings, I love the expression of wildly unexpected colors smacking up against one another, caressing one another." Callie, I've been doing this show for a long time, and I have never heard colors described like that. And I thought that was poetic of you. So please tell us more. Go ahead. And you can use the paintings behind you as an example if you want. Go ahead.
Yes. So I was a watercolorist, and I had 2 lovely ladies that taught me that. And so then I went to Carnegie Mellon for pre-college art, which is really fun because you were at the university with the students and teachers. And I sort of perfected everything. And so then I made my portfolio to go to SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design. And this was kind of before SCAD was SCAD. So the paintings, I love color. I'm a colorist. And I love the vibrancy of color. And they say that color is more important than anything that you can smell or taste to alter your mood. And so when I first moved to Washington, D.C., I taught an interior decorating class at the Arlington Community College. And I would have all of these women, government workers, come in, and they'd all be dressed in black from head to toe. And I would say, "Okay, we're going to do some experiments. And I want you to just change the color of your shirt," because no one even had a different color pair of pants. So the deal was they would just keep wearing their black pants. So they had to go for 1 week and wear a different color every day that wasn't black next to their face and then report back how they felt. But, I'm with Bill. My first employer was on the cover of House Beautiful, Traditional Home, architectural, everything, and they were divas. I can still remember her husband, who ended up in jail, on the big football phone. I mean, it was so insane. They took my car one time. I didn't have a car for 3 days. I was in Amish country doing a photo shoot, and it was crazy, unreal, crazy days. But your art is your own. And one thing that I remember that somebody told me once was well, you would never let anybody tell you where to put a piece of furniture or a painting. You would never let anybody boss you around. So that's really how I feel about it. I'm probably pretty humble. The interior design firm was an Inc. 5000 firm, won the Capitol Home Show out of thousands of booths. Nearly all of my clients were attorneys, and my claim to fame in litigious Washington, D.C. is that I was never sued. So say you have the creative vision and you've got to present that, but then you have to pull all the levers so it fits with the budget and the construction and the timing. And now that I have children, the painting sort of takes the place of that. And one of the ways I'm using that creativity is I'm about to start my own fabric line. And I won't go any farther, but to say it's politically oriented. So so I'm going to have a blast with it. I've already got it in my head how I want to do it. And, and then of course I have the World War II end. So, and when you're in people's homes, that people will say your hairdresser knows you best, but that's not true. It's your interior designer. And so part of your clairvoyant, natural, intuitive ability, which we each have, is accentuated when you're in people's homes every day. And so I think one of the reasons why I was able to graduate at the top of my cohort and have the beautiful thesis, The Cabinet War Wives, and The War Wives, is because I really have a penchant for understanding human nature and women and feminine wiles and being able to put myself in their shoes. So that's that in color, in living color.
That was lovely. That was really, and your mic got a little bit better, by the way. You're clearer now. Yes, that was absolutely. Do you miss doing interior design?
I did a great big project last year at a beautiful historic house. We redid some of the rooms here, and I wish I could show you, but I don't want to mess up my camera. But there's some beautiful, beautiful things. So I'm privileged to have gorgeous fabrics. This house is over 100 years old. It's an historic farm with all the acres. But it's a responsibility. And my first mentor, I won my first contest in college. It was a junior league, and Alexandra Stoddard, who's up from Connecticut way. I love Alexandra, and I saw her last probably 2008 or 9. She came with her husband, who has since passed away. But I loved her, and what she said was, Callie, you take one thing and you get that one thing to the next generation. And she meant like a gorgeous antique desk. But this is my second house renovation. So the first one was an 1850 brick Federal, and this is an old wooden farmhouse.
And Callie, that's part of the reason I named this episode The Legacies of Creativity.
Yeah.
In honor of you and Bill and Sue. I don't think I have to pick a different name every week, and I've been doing this show for years. And I looked at the bios of the three of you and I said, Legacy will honor each of you and all of you. So you just proved me right on that one. Thank you, Callie, very much. The lovely story. I wish we could see your home. Sue Sanchez, I'm picking your, let's see now. I'm picking your statement number 3, and I'm going to read this for you. I think you'll enjoy this. Sue asked the question, how was I able to take 11 trips to Europe on a Texas teacher's salary? Well, she's going to answer that. Again, she organized trips for adults and students. It was rewarding to see their excitement as they visited fascinating places and experienced different cultures. Sue, why don't you tell us a little bit about your creative idea in getting to do these trips with your students? And you don't have to give us the dollars and cents, but how did that work out for you? Go ahead, Sue.
Well, It actually started first with taking the students to Washington, D.C. from the school that I taught at here in Texas. And it's high school, and I taught ESL, so it was the immigrants coming in. And I love history, I love government, and this program called Close Up for New Americans, and there's also a regular Close Up also, is so wonderful. I would highly recommend it to anybody that has children that could go or teachers that want to be part of this and sponsor it. And the kids had to the kids had to work really hard because they had to earn most of their money. The district gave a little, so they sold calendars, we did car washes, I mean all kinds of things, but it made them very, very appreciative of what they got when they got there. Some of those kids had never gone an hour from El Paso, and they flew to Washington, D.C. Starting with that, the rest was all icing on the cake. And they would, and so I taught for 22 years. I brought students to Washington, D.C. It's a week-long program. But I wanted to go to Europe. And I thought, oh my gosh, Texas salary for a teacher, it won't work. So how am I going to do this? And actually, a different teacher first had done it, and I went with her, and she sponsored a trip. And my daughter and I went on it, and I loved it. And I learned that if I can get enough people in a group, I can go free. Free, but it's a lot of work because you have to organize everything and all the paperwork. And I met with them like once, was it once a week or once a month? We had a lot of meetings to prepare them for it and everything. So it was free, but there was a lot of work in it, but it was so worth it for all of us, for everybody that went on those trips, and their eyes, just their faces, how they would light up when they would see all the sights and sounds and foods and everything that they experienced. Me too. We all we all enjoyed it so much. So that's how a Texas teacher with innovation can get stuff done.
There you go. Creative processes, right? You got to figure it out and make it happen. And nobody said free was easy, right?
Nope, it wasn't.
The
But it
only
was
thing that
worth
was
it.
free was it didn't come out of your wallet, but it came out of your time and your effort and your imagination and your creativity and your knowledge. So there you go. No, you paid for it. You definitely paid for the trip, just in different ways, different currencies, as we like to say. Bill, I'm looking at your statement number 1. This is one you gave to me for your January appearance, and we didn't use this. So let's go with this one. Bill says, creativity can come from the simplest things. And here's his first person statement. I once increased the use of television PSAs, that's public service announcements, for the Postal Service by several 100% simply by increasing the length of each PSA. Back in the day, they were distributed to TV stations as 16 millimeter motion picture film, and each station had to splice the PSAs together in one long reel. The Postal Service had been sending out 30-second PSAs, and instead, I had them send out 90-second PSAs. Okay, let you take it over from there and tell us the magic that happened. Go ahead, Bill.
The magic that happened is that I knew the people in the film room at the TV stations hated splicing film. And they'd have to unsplice it and refile it and all. So if they could make one splice and cover 3 PSAs, it got used every time. And all the other 3 PSAs that didn't get used lost out. And so the Postal Service got a huge increase in time on the air simply by sending out longer PSAs.
There you go. What was the reaction when you first proposed it? Did people say, this guy's a genius? What happened? What did they say?
They said, this guy's out of his mind.
That's what I knew you were going to say. Go ahead. And so when did this idea come to you? Was it math? Did you write down? Of course, you said you didn't know a lot of math to become whatever, an aerospace engineer. But seriously, did you say, well, if they go from 30 to 90, that's going to do this and that's going to ease the number of splices they got to make? When did that come to you, Bill?
I just worked in TV stations and I was the guy who had to splice them. I knew this. Okay. That just was, Another thing was the fact that I had, working with the Postal Service, they said, gee whiz, we need to figure out a way to get more people collecting stamps. That way the stamps don't get used. And I said, well, why don't you start stamp clubs in elementary school and just have kids start collecting stamps younger? And they said, well, how do you do that? And I said, well, let's start sending out something to the teachers to use stamps to teach history. They said, well, give it a try and put a package together. And if you could sell 1,500 of these packages,
What?
it would be successful.
Okay.
So I put a package together to sell, to make available to teachers. It included some history materials, some posters, that sort of thing for the classroom. And they submitted it and made it available to teachers. And they said, if you could sell 1,500, it would be a success. I sold over 20,000 of these things.
I'm not surprised.
And it was such a big success that they canceled the whole program.
What?
It's too expensive because they insisted on selling it at below cost.
Okay.
I said, sell it for a reasonable price. Well, no, we want to keep it low so the teachers can pay for it out of their own pockets and not submit a purchase order. So they sold them for $5. 18,000 purchase orders came in for $5.
Okay, that's a story. Listen, I want to go around the table and find out because I have some fun celebrity birthdays and dates on the calendar you've never heard of, wacky holidays and all that. But we have a little bit of time before I go to that segment. I'd like to go around and find out, is there a time of the day, Callie, I'll go to you and then Sue and then Bill in our normal order here. Is there a time of the day or a season of the year or a place that you feel sparks or inspires your most creativity? Whatever you're doing, whether you're writing, whether you're drawing, whether you're painting, whether you're coming up with stamp collector promo programs, whether you're doing PSAs, whether you're teaching, whether you're going, is there something that is that little nugget you say, yeah, I'm in my study and I'm listening to Tchaikovsky and it's a stormy day and I just feel like I'm going to create stuff. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Callie, you're first. Just take about 1 minute, 1 minute and a half each, and then we'll go to the rest of the show. Go ahead, Callie.
It's a fascinating question. I mean, I love winter. I love fall. I notice the changes of the hours and the seasons. But as I get older, for me, when I'm older, having younger kids, it's a whole other thing. Because the days are long, but the years are like lightning fast. So last year, when I was writing this, the Native American Spirit Wheel Dream Journal, that is about the seasons, and it's about honoring the natural New Year spring and planting the seeds that you want to plant, and then watering and harvesting them, and then honoring the lifting of the veil at the harvest time, and the winter of life. And it equates each season with the time of your life. All a gentle reminder that projects, relationships, each have a season of life.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. That's lovely. Sue, what about you? Is there a time of day, year, indoors, outdoors, music, anything that specifically or particularly, I should say, particularly inspires you? And then Bill's next. Go ahead, Sue.
I'm going to have to say two.
Please.
Okay, one would be Ruidoso, New Mexico, and the other would be Sedona, Arizona. Because Ruidoso, New Mexico, since 1984, my family has been going up there every 4th of July week. And there's so much to do then at that time. We've created so many memories. And it's my parents, me, and then my kids, and then their kids. So it's 4 generations that we have stories and stories and stories and activities, memories. So, and then the other one is Sedona, which we really started going every year when my youngest daughter got married there. And we loved it so much. We go back every year for Sedona and create more wonderful, beautiful memories. And on downtimes, we always reminisce about our life in Mexico and our life them growing up in Mexico and here in the United States, the transitions and everything. And my kids would always say, "Oh, we got to write a book about this."
There you
Well,
go. There you go.
that's my
That's
book.
your book. Thank you.
Yes.
Bill, I give you a minute and a half and then we gotta do. Thank you, Sue. Bill, what you got?
Well, if I needed to think, I would go to the mountains or to the desert. I love the desert. I love Death Valley. I have been all over the Colorado mountains, doing ghost towns and old mining camps in a photo series. But if I needed to think, I just get in the car and drive. And I can literally drive for days. No, I don't have the radio on. I don't have anything. It just gives me an opportunity to think, admire the scenery, and I get some of my best ideas while I'm driving.
That's lovely. Thank you all. While I'm asking the question of the three of you, I'm trying to think of mine, and my ideas come at any time of the day or night. It's more of a need. It's like, well, I got a lot of time on my hands and I've only got 4 radio shows, or I still call this radio. What am I going to do? And I just came up with an idea for a new show. I'm going to talk to Jordan, our engineer, about that because I love his voice. I got to get him on the radio with me. So we'll do something. But I want to tell you that, Callie, I have over 300 paintings in my house, and I started painting just on a whim when I lived in Durham, and I do 6 to 8 paintings in a weekend. I had a big kitchen counter right across from the sink, acrylics, watercolors, collages, you name it. And then when I moved here, I took the sunroom, which is not heated or air conditioned, but they used to have a little table out there. I put Venetian blinds in. It has windows on 2 sides, back corner of the house, beautiful light. I put in my mother's old, huge, all wood dining room table with the leaves in it, and I put a glass top, and I put all my paints and my canvases out there, and it's my enclave, and it just inspires me, and I just feel it. I just feel it, and I run out of space. Let me see. We're going to run out of time here soon. So thank you. I'm thanking me for asking the question because I haven't thought about it for a long time. Okay, I have a couple of things to share with you. There are not a lot of celebrity birthdays today, which really surprised me. But music events. In 1962, on this date, June 9th, Tony Bennett performed at Carnegie Hall in New York for the first time. In 1962. I don't know how many times after that. And this day in 1970, Bob Dylan received an honorary Doctorate of Music degree from Princeton University. Interesting. On this day in 1993, Tina Turner's life story in the film What's Love Got to Do with It, it debuted, starring Angela Bassett as Tina Turner. And on this day in 1998, Jimmy Buffett's memoir, A Pirate Looks at 50, hits #1 on the New York Times bestseller list for nonfiction. And where did he get the title? He had a song, A Pirate Looks at 40 from 1974. So 24 years later, he used it. Today in memoriam, Cole Porter was born today in 1891. The composer and songwriter. He wrote standards for witty, urbane lyrics for Broadway. It's the lovely, anything goes, begin the begin. I've got you under my skin. Let's do it. Let's fall in love. My heart belongs to daddy. So many. He was just an icon. Les Paul, who helped develop the electric guitar. He was born today in 1915. Jackie Wilson. Jack Leroy Wilson Jr., born in Detroit, Michigan on this day in 1934, prominent in the transition of rhythm and blues into soul, named Mr. Excitement. There you go. And he is on the 200 greatest singers of all time list by, I think it's Rolling Stone magazine, and NPR named him one of the 50 great voices. I got 3 minutes left. Michael J. Fox is having a birthday today. Talk about brave. 20 years after he was diagnosed with Parkinson's, he is still acting and still performing. I think he stopped recently. You all know him as a star on Family Ties and all. Anyway, he's just wonderful. And he took the J. J was not his middle initial, but his middle initial was something else, and another actor already had that name. So in honor of the actor Michael J. Pollard, he took the J. Talk about creativity, he became Michael J. Fox. Johnny Depp, his birthday is today. He's 62. How is that possible? Natalie Portman. It's thundering and lightning. Oh my goodness, the rain is coming down in sheets. Natalie Portman is 44 today, Best Actress Award in the 2010 thriller Black Swan. And Mae Whitman, you may not know her, but she was in a TV show called Good Girls, which was very interesting with Christina Hendricks and Retta. And it was very, very funny. Today, okay, YouTube. Keaton Spears, Speirs, is 31 years old. Why do we care, Callie and Sue and Bill? Because he has 5 million subscribers. He's a Canadian personality, and he posts Grand Theft Auto content. Okay, TikTok, Benet Nicole, It's a girl. She's 25. She has 5 million followers. She does dance and comedy videos, and she does lip syncs about dressing like a tomboy. There you go, Callie. And on Instagram, Stassi Baby is 28. Stassi Baby is a model named Anastasia Karanakalokalu. Her name is Stassi Baby. She is the best friend of Kendall and Kylie Jenner. She only has 10 million followers. Today is Donald Duck Day. He made his debut in The Wise Little Hen in 1934. He didn't meet Mickey Mouse till years later. Today is Eat Flexitarian Day. I have no idea. Today is International Dark and Stormy Day. It's National Mitchell Day. If your name's Mitchell, wave hello. National Strawberry Rhubarb Day. Email Week. That's for you, Bill. It's National Little League Week and Pet Wedding Week. Don't ask me to tell you about that. Here we go. Let's close and don't go away. We're going to talk. So life is short. Break the rules. Forgive quickly. Nah. Kiss slowly. Oh, yes, please. Love truly. Laugh uncontrollably. Laugh with me, everybody. 1, 2, 3. Very good. Stop. And never regret anything that made you smile. Final words. Work like you don't need the money. Dance like no one's watching. When I taught disco, they watched. Sing like nobody's listening. I only sang once. It wasn't too bad. Love like you've never been hurt. We all have. Let your heart grow back and regenerate and love again. Money talks. Chocolate sings. La. And last but not least, I stole this line from somebody else. Thank you for turning me on. And if I can find the outro music, we're going to play it right now. And here we go. Let me get this going here. Okay.
Thanks again for tuning in to Read My Lips Radio,
Don't go away, guest.
presented
We're
by
gonna
the
talk.
Voice America Variety Channel. Tweet your questions and comments to @RadioRed777.
We have 6 viewers?
Join
We
host
just broke
AKA Radio Red
Nobody
again next
watches
Monday
live.
at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern
At the
on
old
the Voice
timing.
America
That's not
Variety
our time.
Channel. We wish you a positively cool, creative week.
Yes, we do. There we go. There we go. That's an old promo. I want to thank all of you. Don't go away. Callie Boswell, such a pleasure. Sue Sanchez, delightful. Bill Williams, come back anytime. Wave goodbye to